Welcome to Book Bingers, the podcast where two best friends talk about books, book boyfriends, wingspans. Today, book conventions.
Oh my god, who are we?
Whew. I feel like we just took a step into really into the book world in a different way.
Can I just say, there is nothing better than being around hundreds and hundreds of people that feel like they're the same person as you.
Love all the same things.
And they're, as we know, book talk has gotten toxic lately.
Sure has.
So it was really nice to be reminded that most people just love books, and
they just read and love and are fans.
Yes, it was so exciting to be around people. There was no judgment. Cosplays galore. Everyone was so supportive and friendly.
Oh my god.
It was, as a book reader, I tend to not want to talk to people. I'm just in my book. But this was everyone talking about everyone. Everyone was so excited.
Everyone was so happy and friendly. It wasn't catty. It wasn't...
No.
There was no judgment.
No. In case we didn't mention.
Yep.
We were at Romantasy BookCon.
In Orlando.
By Fabled Fantasy Events. And it was truly a 3 days worth of nothing but happiness, love, and it was everything I wanted.
It was perfect.
It was perfect.
I'll be honest, I was nervous going into it.
Yeah.
I did not know what to expect. I was like,
Yeah.
am I going to hate this? Is this not for me?
Nope. It's definitely for you.
I definitely was proven wrong.
Yes. So let's go a little bit into what the schedule looked like.
Yeah.
For those of you going, they do have another convention in LA coming up, I think in February.
Yeah.
And
they're coming back to Orlando next fall.
Yeah. And if you've ever wanted to go to a convention, we're just going to kind of break down what it looks like. This is now our third convention, and I do feel like they kind of have similar vibes, regardless of the niche.
Yeah.
We've been to three very different.
Very
different. The first night always feels almost like a mixer. It's hey, the party actually starts tomorrow, but let's get to know each other. So happy you're here. So it was kind of like a cocktail mixer party, and depending on your category level, there was different
things going on,
rooms and activities and things going on. So we did have in full transparency, the highest level ticket, which kind of means that we could do all the things. So we did try to make our way around so we could see all the things going on. And I'm not gonna lie, the lowest ticket level,
that was where it was at.
That's where the party was at.
They had karaoke going on. They had
the themed drinks.
They had the themed drinks. They had appetizers out.
They had the big ballroom.
Yeah, it was a vibe in there.
It was a whole vibe.
I was a little sad we got there late.
I know.
They were wrapping up, and I was like, oh.
But our ticket level did have a threshing where you could get a dragon,
a little 3D printed dragon.
Yes, and they had they had mailed you a key with your invitation that could open up a treasure box, and there was some goodies in there.
There was some painting, which we didn't end up doing the painting hour.
We didn't, but that was available, and a lot of people did it. We just were too late to the game.
Cool,
yes. And then there was the real draw, I think, was that you, with the highest level ticket, you could go to a cocktail hour with food and mingle with the authors.
Yeah. Yeah. We had an experience.
We had
an organic experience.
It's something that will keep me going for the rest of my life.
Live rent-free in my brain.
Forever. So before we tell you who it was, I'm just going to say this author is a massive favorite of ours, and we've talked about this author many times on this podcast. We didn't recognize her at all, okay? And I will say, she doesn't often show her face on her Instagram and whatever. So keep that in mind.
Let me set the scene. Janelle, I'm wearing a normal dress. Janelle has some wings on.
Yeah, I was going for kind of a Emery vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, those $3 Walmart wings,
which almost didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
They broke right before we were about to leave. And I was trying to like nail glue these babies back together. Glue them back together. It was not working.
It was a miracle.
Yeah.
That they made it.
But Sarah was like, I've got this stitch gun.
I have a stitch gun. And we made it work.
We made it work. And these bat wings are key to this story.
$3. Remind you. Now, there is just, if you hadn't had those wings on, I don't know that this would have happened.
Yeah, it's true. So we're at the bar and we're just kind of like, I don't know what to do. We're being socially awkward as we are. And these two women approach and they're like, oh my God, I love your wings. And me being me, I'm like, oh my God, $3 at Walmart.
Girlhood at its finest.
Yes. And we just start talking. It leads to us just chatting and hanging out with these two other women. They're so nice. We have so much fun. And I just think at that moment that they're just also attending this
convention.
At
some point, 5 minutes into the conversation, Janelle goes, oh, we didn't even introduce ourselves.
I'm so sorry.
I'm Janelle. And she says, I'm Pen.
And that's not like a common name, right? So I go, Pen what? And she says Pen Cole. And I swear to God, I got immediately hot. I thought I was going to pass out.
Grab the bar like this is not happening.
I was like, are you kidding me right now? I freaking love you. I'm your biggest fan.
Pen Cole?
I'm dead.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Did we continue to then have like an organic, natural conversation for like 20 minutes with her?
Totally fangirled. We mentioned this podcast.
Yes.
She wants to be
She asked to be on it. And at first I was like, oh, she's just being nice.
That's nice.
She has no idea how small we are. She's just being nice. No. She mentioned it several times. And then we proceeded to see her throughout the whole convention, and it was like, hey! And I was like, stop. Also, the other friend, and I don't want to just like storm over her, was so awesome. I don't know how much I can say like about her.
I don't want to name drop her, but she's her editor.
Yes.
And
she was incredible.
Amazing. She's from Atria. And from what I have gathered, she really championed for this book to become traditionally published.
Absolutely. You could tell she was taking such good care of Pen. There was like a massive difference between the authors that were there doing signings that had no one to advocate for them versus her. Like, I personally saw her being like, Pen needs a break. She needs to have some water. Like, you know, let's slow down the pace a little bit, like that kind of stuff. And I was like, she's truly looking out for her author and protecting her. And my respect was like through the roof.
To have someone in your corner that seriously makes a difference, you can tell.
But in case you've gotten this far and you're like, who is Pen Cole? She has written one of our favorite series of all time, Spark of the Everflame. And it's the Empyrean series.
Listen,
and if you've made it this far into our podcast and you have not added this to your TBR.
If you haven't read this series yet, it's going to explode.
Yes,
it is going to explode.
I'm telling you. And this was her first ever like signing and meeting with people. And I felt so honored because I know 1 year from now, she's going to not be able to have the time that she had to talk and get to know people. No. She's not going to be able to come to these cocktail mixers because she's going to be bombarded. Like, I know in my gut, she already is a New York Times bestselling author after 1 week of being
amazing.
I mean, it's insane. Like, I know in my heart it's going to come to the screen, whether it be small or big. I know it. And I know that it's going to take off.
Netflix.
I know. Dang it, Netflix. They'd be canceling things left and right. So just please go read it now.
Read it now.
And if you have the opportunity to meet her, do it while you can. She was the most incredible, kind, humble person. She felt so, I mean, it's weird to say she felt so real because she is real, but like still
you can just tell she's just one of those genuinely nice people. Just like such a big heart and just so gracious with her time and so thankful and grateful to the readers for being there.
Like, she knew who I was. The second
Crazy.
I told her who what my handle is, because I harass her, she was like, "Oh my God.
Oh, you're her."
You're her." No, she was so excited to like meet us and us meet her, and she was just so happy to be there. And she did something that I think has so much class. So you had to sign up to get a signing with her. Like, you had to pre-sign up for this because there was a very limited amount. But she also went around and signed every single book that they were selling there of hers, so that if you didn't get a chance to meet her, you could still buy a signed copy. And I was like, who does that?
I mean, just when I mean generous with her time, generous with her time.
Yes, and even since then, because she did a few panels, which we'll get into, I have seen her supporting small indie authors. Like the fact that she reposted Elle's book. It's her debut book.
That's huge.
That's so huge. And she was like sharing small shops and all of this stuff. And I didn't think I could love her more, but now that I know her, I do. I love her so much more.
I will read her grocery list. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is where I'm at with her.
Okay, so
we had that
first
happened.
night. Okay, so first night we're already riding in a high, and I'm like, it doesn't matter what happens the rest of this weekend. Like,
it was worth it.
Amazing. Take us to the second day, which I'm just going to say I think is like the best day of a convention in general. I think day 2 which actually feels like day 1 because it's the first daytime.
The energy is super high.
The energy is high.
Yeah.
The best of the best panels, I feel like, generally happen on that first real day. And everyone's just really happy to be there. All the vendors are set up. Yeah. Everyone's still like riding this like excitement. They have the energy. Do as much as you can on that first day. Absolutely. Because you're going to be burnt out by the last day.
Yeah, so there was the guidebook app they had loaded with the whole itinerary, and you could go in, and that's where you would sign up for panels. That's where you could just add things into your schedule that you wanted to see. And so we had a couple panels. Yeah. 2 panels on that first day. And
sign up day 1 if you can, because some of those panels sold out immediately.
Yeah, and I think only they opened more spots up because they had changed venues, and so they had a little bit more room. Yes. But definitely that first day, make sure you get a lay of the land. Yeah. Because I think that really helped us, like, knowing, okay, this is where everything is, so when we want to go back and hit certain spots, we kind of had an idea. Yep. Because it took us fairly far into the first day to figure out there was stuff upstairs going on, and there were other rooms that were involved. So having a lay of the land.
What I liked about Fabled fantasy events versus some of the other cons that we did is I didn't feel like we had to line up for the panels an hour in advance. No, that was so nice. You could literally show up 5 minutes before and still get practically front row. Yeah. Like, that was so nice, because how many conventions have we been to where it's like, where you okay, well, the panel starts at noon, so we better start standing in line if we want a good seat, like an hour or 2 beforehand.
I felt like that was really nice. And I don't know, I hope they keep it that way.
I hope they keep it that way, because how many times are we seeing people complaining about conventions because they sold too many tickets and people didn't get to experience.
And that's the big thing with conventions is like lines. And I think if you're paying that much for a ticket, you should be able to experience everything.
I agree.
And I do feel like
like this one we did. Yeah.
We got to experience everything.
And by no means was it small. There was definitely a lot of people there, but it didn't feel unmanageable. No. They did a great job with lines. It felt like they had the right amount of seats that they did for each thing.
And I think they had a good amount of volunteers that were managing.
Yeah, they did. And shout out to our friend Becca, Book Club Becca. She was a volunteer.
Number 1 volunteer.
She did so great. So day 1/day 2, I was feeling a high. I was also like, okay, clocking everything that I wanted to buy.
Yeah. I was like, because on day 2, you got to buy stuff.
Yes.
Because that's that. Now, I would be remiss if we didn't mention, now you have moderated a panel in the past. But this was your first time being on a panel as one of the panelists.
How weird is that?
I mean, I think it's great.
It was
We were all front row, just ready to go.
Yeah.
How do you feel like it went for you?
I don't know. I feel like I blacked out. like an out-of-body experience. I did a panel. I was on a panel that was like Bookstagram, Book Talk, basically how to start your social media channel and the steps to take to make it successful. It was good, I think. It's probably a better question for you.
It was good. It was good. But, like, I know that you went into it feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, why am I on this? But
yes,
I think...
because let it be known that the other people on this panel, so we had our moderators, Maddie and Connor, which are very famously known as Reese and Feyre cosplayers. They're fantastic. And then we had Miranda, which is another cosplayer. Mm-hmm. And then we had a bookstagrammer. And then we had someone from the Lit Buzz that was like, works with authors.
Yep.
And then there was me, who I don't just do book stuff. I do a lot of stuff. I do a lot of fantasy ball content, but I also do a lot of just like Orlando content. So I felt very much like, are they going to think, why is this girl here? That's the vibe
but
I
don't think anyone thought that. In fact, I feel like that is the most relatable. You're the most relatable person on that panel because there's a lot of people. She's paying me to be here. But there are so many people out there who want to post multiple parts of their life and maybe don't want to be just pigeonholed into one thing. Yeah. And I think you showcase a really good way to do that.
Thanks.
Again, she's paying me lots of money.
Yep. No one wants to be in my life unless I'm like, I've got this carrot for you.
That's it.
So yeah, that was good. We also saw panels that Penn was on, Nisha Tooley was on, Adeline Grace was on.
Oh, that was amazing.
It was so good. We met a ton of other podcast creators.
I know, that was really cool too.
Yeah, that was so cool because let me tell you, I was just like throwing that podcast out there every chance I got. I was like, we have a podcast.
Not thinking that people would be like interested.
No, I didn't think the authors would be like, do you have a card? No, I didn't have a card.
Sure. Yeah, we have them at home. Did we bring them? No. Are we dumb?
Yeah, I guess. I will say that people were handing out bracelets. They were handing out goodie bags. Like, everyone was just like handing things out. It would have been smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Live and learn. You know what I mean? But it was so fun. Did we buy some things? Yep. I bought some books, bought some candles, bought some things. Mm-hmm. It was so cool to see, like, call us basic if you want, but we are ACOTAR, SJM, Fourth Wing Girlies, and it was so cool to see some of our, like, favorite characters come to life, absolutely. But the merch, and there was some Zodiac Academy
and people. I feel like there was way more Zodiac than I thought there was going to be.
Way more. Like, the first people we saw were people dressed up as Zodiac Academy cosplayers. And I was like, are you kidding me right now?
This is amazing. And that's the thing. Like, everyone who is there, I feel like has
a deeper knowledge of books.
I would say the majority of people there have read either ACOTAR, Fourth Wing, Throne of Glass, Zodiac. Like, they've read one of the popular pillars of the romantasy genre.
Because this was a romantasy con. Yeah. So,
and I feel like there's just this appreciation that everyone has. Mm-hmm. So you see a cool t-shirt on someone, you see like a cool sticker on this,
or like a bound that would go over someone else's head. Like our friend Meg dressed as like Feyre in the cabin, so she had like a cozy sweater on, leggings with paint on it, and a tote that had soup on it. And it's like so smart. Like no one, like most people wouldn't get that
in the real world.
But like we're like, oh my god, so cute.
But I'm telling you, that's the thing. Like, those are the kind of places for you to just be. And the thing is, what I love is there are people who are in sweatshirts and jeans. Yeah. There are people who are in full cosplay. Mm-hmm. There are people who are in loose bounds. Mm-hmm. And no one feels out of place.
No, it was like you were getting complimented left and right by everyone. Also, shout out to our tattoo artist who was there. Oh my god! There was a whole tattoo upstairs area, like, and that I'm telling you right now, that booked out so fast. So if you see tattoo artists at a convention,
every single one of them,
you need to book that immediately because every single one of those tattoo artists were booked from sunup to sundown. Yep. And I have to say, kudos to them because they were like bent over working hard the whole time. And it was packed. Like, I know our tattoo artist had a line of people she had to turn away. Thankfully, some of them, I think, lived in Orlando.
So hopefully
it can translate. Yeah. But if that is at your convention, just know.
And you want a tattoo?
Even if you don't know, like, which one you want, most of them are going to have, like, a flash sheet. I don't know how many are going to do custom, but most of them will have a flash sheet. Just book it because it books out. Yeah. It books out.
You're better to book it and cancel it than not have it booked and be regretting it.
Correct. And if you're a tattoo artist watching this, I'm telling you right now, get into book conventions because that is where it's at. Everybody wanted tattoos.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It was incredible to watch.
The amount of baby dragons that she tattooed on people.
So many baby dragons.
They're everywhere.
So many baby dragons. So many flaming hearts, you know? Mm-hmm. It was so cool. Okay, so we did a lot of panels, and I will say they were awesome. Absolutely incredible. I would say each one was around 45 minutes.
Yeah. And they left a little bit of time for questions at the end.
Mm-hmm. The moderators were all amazing. Questions were really good. No complaints on the panels. No, I feel like the panels is where it's at.
It was so nice to get some insight into what's going on in their brains, like what's going on with their process, like how do they build their worlds, how do they...
The characters that they love, which I have to say, not to keep harping on Penn, but she actually, and I don't want to say too much because my husband's in the other room and he is in the middle of the second book of the series. So, but she made me a character that I did not like at all.
It's her baby.
She talked about what that character represents to her. And now I'm like, well, am I a crappy person?
Well, when you put it
like that, now I like your character. Yeah. So it was really cool to hear like their brains. And there was lots of panels. Like some of them were like fairy tales and things like that. So it was really cool retellings. But it was also, it introduced me to some new authors that I had never heard of before. And I will say I picked up quite a few books by people I had never heard of and never would have been on my radar if it wouldn't have been for this convention.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so excited, but it was really cool. You even won
a
book by Nisha Tooley, which is so cool because I have to also gush on her a little bit.
Yeah.
Because she, at her panel, made me so obsessed with her. She's hilarious, but also she was very inspiring to me as someone who's, I don't even know if I want to say this, but
you are a budding writer.
I'm attempting to write a novel and I was having a lot of self-doubt because that is just like, I'm not. I've never went to writing classes. Like I didn't go to school for writing. I'm not a writer. She was one of the only people on the panel that was not a plotter and is a pantser. And she was like, you just gotta like write. And she inspired me so much because my ADHD brain is just not a plotter. And I was like, I can't do this then.
Yeah, I mean, multiple times she said that the draft that she turns in is regularly under word count. It is an absolute mess. Yeah. And the magic of making it into a book is in the edits.
Yeah. And like when we went and talked to her, she was just so sweet. Again, took so much time to hang out with us. And Sarah, she was having sign up for our emails and you can win the fourth book. Yeah. And we were like, oh, it's not it says we're already signed up. And maybe it's because we're already ARC readers of yours. Like, I don't know. And she's like, just write your name down. So Sarah in a panel is like, oh my God. And I'm like,
she emailed me.
I literally was like, are you okay? Like, I didn't know if there was like a bodily function happening or if she had gotten a text from the school. I didn't know what was happening because my leg was like throbbing in pain.
No, it's just a free book.
She's like, I won.
I won an ARC copy of the last book in her.
So exciting because we have read the whole series and we have been ARC readers for them. So it is very exciting to get it. And it was like the physical copy.
Yeah.
Because I normally with her books get the ER, which is also amazing. Love it. Thank you. But there's something about getting a physical copy. It's like a trophy.
Absolutely.
It's the best. And it was so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh my God. If you haven't read that series.
Trial of the Sun Queen is the first book.
Started out. The fourth book comes out in just a couple weeks. So.
Yeah. Yay!
Yeah. Oh my God, she was amazing. She was one of my big names that I wanted to see.
It was so exciting. I'm very glad. She was one of the first names when they had put who was going to be there that I was like, oh, I know her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that one.
Yeah.
So very, very excited. And this particular con had the perfect mix of vendors versus authors.
I agree.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is great. This is really great. And there was multiple rooms of authors, which was cool, but I loved seeing their setups. People go all out.
All out.
Very cool.
Yeah, so there was a handful of authors that you had to sign up to get in a line, like Penn Cole, like Aaron A. Craig.
And Adeline Grace.
Adeline Grace.
I think those were the three.
And they had their own separate signing rooms. But then the rest of the authors were kind of mixed among the vendors, and you could just go up to the table and they would sign your books for you. And I feel like that really just gave this more of a casual feel to the meeting, and it didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel, at another convention at MegaCon when we went and we paid, I don't even want to tell anyone how much money we paid to meet Tom Hiddleston.
Oh my God.
With him.
Stop.
And when I tell you, we were losing our minds as if we were going to have all this time to talk to Tom and we were going to have this experience.
We went through a whole what are we going to say? Do you think he'll smell good? All of these.
We got 10 seconds with that man.
Being generous with 10 seconds. It was literally
in, picture,
take a picture out. Someone was and obviously he was just trying to get through as many people as possible. He was nice. He was wonderful.
That was their process. It's not his choice. Process.
They were being rude before we even got up there. But that is what it is.
But in this setting, even in the signing lines, each of the authors took so much time to talk to you. It was a genuine interaction. They would all take pictures.
They were all chatting with each other. There was something that made my heart aflutter to see other authors talking to other authors. Yes. And Carissa Weeks, for example, was right across from a vendor who just randomly happened to be there that had done their own cover of The Witch Collector. Yeah. And I was and she put it on her table. It was just so absolutely incredible to see. But I'm sure many of you want to know about the ball.
Yeah, the ball.
So I don't know if all conventions do this. I know that they don't all. But I will say Fabled Fantasy does end their convention with a big, big ball. And this is a big draw for a lot of people going to this convention.
Yeah.
It was everything. I did not know what to expect. I've been to several balls at this point, but those were just balls. They weren't conventions in balls. So the ball.
The ball, yes.
Okay, so I went into it thinking it was just gonna be a dance. I didn't think there was gonna be a lot of decor. I didn't think there was gonna be really that much pizzazz to it because it's the end of a convention.
And to be fair, it was in the room where all the vendors were, so the turnaround time was 3-4 hours, and I was oh, I just expect them to clear it out, and then that's that.
I was so wrong. I was not so wrong. I knew that they were going to have cosplayers, and let me just say, their cosplayers were epic. Okay, so they just had not even the full inner circle. They just had the couples. So they had Reese and Feyre, Azriel and Elaine, and Nesta and Cassian. And they were so good. When I tell you these bat boys brought it.
Holy moly.
So first of all, there's them, right? So there's that aspect. They were so good. They were so good with everyone. You could take pictures with all of them. Then the entrance was all of these lights. So you enter through
fairy lights, you know what I mean?
Fairy lights. It felt like a wedding entrance. I was like, what's happening? And the room, I couldn't believe what they did in 3 hours.
No, they had these backdrops. They had these lighting fixtures that were with decor on the wall. They had all this greenery everywhere. They had, I think, a really good amount of high top tables spread around, so it didn't feel like you didn't have somewhere to put your bag.
Yeah, and then they had seats, then they had
seating. Couches.
They had professional photographers for everyone. They also had one of those Polaroid photo booth type ones. And then they were so smart because these rooms are generally so dark that you can't really create content. They had an area where it was like lit up backdrop, like greenery, where you could take pictures that wouldn't feel dark. And they had like different areas. There was like a fountain in the middle of an area. They had one stage that had this cool backdrop that looked very Valaris, like where they had like
chairs and thrones and stuff for them.
And then there was like a stage that was high up, so that when there were performers, it didn't matter where you were, you could see the performance. And of course, there was a DJ and a dance floor. I was blown away by how beautiful everything was. I really can't even put into words how stunning
it was. Amazing.
It was. But then, so I've been to a lot of balls with cosplayers, and they're generally just kind of like walking around and, on the dance floor, dancing, having fun. These ones, you could take pictures with them and at no charge. Like, they were just like around. They were happy to take pictures. They would have moments where there was like lines that you could form, and then they would take a break and they would go dance and just like hang out with you organically. The Cassian and Azrael,
they were unbelievable. They can get it. Both of them.
They can get it. Okay, first of all, so hot. Like, let's just throw that out there. But they were also so much their characters. And I think that's what made it so cool. Azrael was like a cinnamon roll. He was so adorable and sweet.
So respectful.
He was like, may I hold your arm? All of this stuff. And every time, I'd come around, he'd be like, you look like an angel. Your hair's so beautiful. But then Cassian, on the other hand, was so Cassian. Like, flexing his arm and like being Cassian. Like, it was just so awesome. The music was great. The DJ was fantastic. There was also food.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like a sit down dinner like a lot of the balls will be. But they had said like light bites. I didn't think much of it. But there was like a lot of food. A lot of dessert. It was almost like a dessert table.
Yeah.
A lot of desserts. There was a bar. It was not open bar. It was a cash bar. But depending on your ticket level, you could get drink tickets.
Yep.
So with our level, we each got 3 drink tickets, and I don't know what the lower levels got. I don't know. I don't think they got any because
Maybe
Megan
one.
and them didn't have any.
Yeah.
But that was really great. And they had several bars, so there was never like a wait really for the bar, and that's something I've noticed at other balls.
The longest lines were for the professional photographer and for the photo booth.
And with our level of ticket, the professional photos, anyone can get the professional photos, but ours, we do get free copies of them emailed to us. In the lower levels, you'll still get to see your pictures and then have a choice if you want to buy them after the fact. But anyone could do the Polaroid pictures,
that was awesome.
Which was super cool. And I would say those were the longest lines. So get into those ones right away.
And then like outside, they had like, outside of the ballroom, they had like several backdrops and they had dragons outside. So there was like a lot of places to take pictures.
Yeah, a lot of raffles happening too. Yep. Everybody got like tickets that they could enter into raffles for different things. There was like an Akatar one, Crest City one, like Fourth Wing one, all these different things. I have no idea who won them.
Nope. But wasn't me.
Wasn't me. I know that. But it was so fun. And when I tell you, if you're curious what to wear, the limit does not exist. You can go as big or small as you want, but I will say more people go on the big side. I didn't really see anyone in just like a normal dress. It was like, think prom.
You were nervous that your dress was going to be like the biggest.
Yeah.
And I think within walking in that ballroom, there were 3 other giant dresses that I was like, I can't step on these.
There was like a literal fairy tale couple come to life. It was so like cute. Prince Charming and Cinderella walked out of a book. It was so cute, but there was everything you could imagine. It was there, but I will say, if you're like, how big do I go? Do I get this gown? Get the gown.
Get the gown.
I would say err on the side of bigger.
Yeah.
As opposed to like not.
If you're flying, I guess err on the side of what will fit in your suitcase.
What will fit on your suitcase, but do not be afraid to shop that prom dress section.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because almost everybody was in a gown of some sort.
And I will say, so it's a predominantly female event.
It is.
Right? The men that were there, I feel like anyone we came across, husbands, boyfriends, who were there were so supportive, have definitely read some of the stuff, like knew the characters, and they all went for it at the ball. Like, I feel like they were all just...
I think some of the husbands were shocked at how fun it was.
Correct.
And speaking as someone whose husband has come to me, like, he's like, I want to go to every single one of these. It was so fun. Time of your life. It's like being at a wedding. You know what I mean? It's like being at a wedding reception. It's so fun. It's to be the age that we are and getting to wear the gowns, and it's like adult prom.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so fun. Put on the crown. Put on the, this was a masquerade ball.
And it's that without judgment, It's that with everyone is just, the compliments are free flowing.
Yeah.
And I feel like we don't live in a world where it's like that.
Especially for women.
To be in a room where just every body type, every shape, color, size is accepted.
I will say I had so much fun. I'm so happy that like our book club girlies were there, but I will say the amount of people that go to these events solo would blow your mind. I would say most of them are coming alone. So if you're also curious, like, I want to go, but I don't have anyone to go with, I'm telling you, every ball I've ever attended, every convention will have a Discord or a Facebook group.
Yeah, and people are really active in that.
Very active. And if you're going solo, there were so many meetups, like the night before, or, hey, I'm wearing this, where are you? I want to hang out with someone. Like, everybody found someone. I didn't see anybody just alone on their own.
No.
It was truly the most welcoming space ever. So if you're in your mind, like, I want to go, but I don't want to go alone, just go. Yeah. You'll find people there. You absolutely will.
And we didn't talk about Friday night.
What did we do Friday? Oh yeah, Friday night.
They had this whole, it was another
the realm of
romantasy.
Realm of fantasy.
Realm of fantasy.
Yeah.
Something. And it was,
that was a party.
Oh, yeah. There was a DJ for that.
Yep.
They had axe throwing outside.
Yes.
They had archery inside.
Yes.
They had
trivia.
A tarot reader.
The tarot reader. And I'm saying legit tarot reader.
Real tarot reader.
Two, and they were dedicated to the craft. This was not like fake people. This was legit tarot card readers.
They had mask stations set up at all the tables.
Because it was a masquerade ball.
Masquerade was the next night.
Or you could make bracelets.
And then Janelle got to host the costume contest.
The cosplay contest, which was phenomenal. This was like your chance to also like go all out. A lot of people were characters that I've never seen brought to life. It was... I think I lost my mind when, like, you see a lot of Manons. I will say, going to conventions, you see a lot of Manons. But to see Dorian,
amazing.
I lost it.
Amazing.
I lost my mind.
Amazing.
I couldn't believe what people brought to life. The respect I have for cosplayers.
Incredible.
Can't even imagine the time, effort, and money that goes into these things. Yes, so that was, like, big cosplay night. Did we go to trivia and did we win Crescent City trivia?
We did go to trivia.
I didn't think we were going to win. You know what I thought we were going to win? ACOTAR. I thought we were going to win ACOTAR trivia.
You know what was the hardest? ACOTAR.
The ACOTAR trivia.
I haven't read it in a bit.
Was so cocky, especially coming off of our Crescent City win when I thought that was going to be the hardest one for us. Nailed it. I think we got one wrong. Killed it.
Which everyone in that room got wrong.
Killed
Zelda,
it.
Please.
Get out of here. ACOTAR... Although I think we did come in second.
We came in second, but whatever. Thiessen, there were some questions. The one question was, what was the one that we were like, oh, I didn't even think twice about
Oh, we were so dumb. It was, okay, this was our fault, not the question's fault, but it was like, who sits on a throne made of, like, bones and skulls? And we're like, Amarantha. Just so cocky.
And when I tell you, couldn't have written it down faster. Yep. Did not take any other opinions.
It's like Hybern didn't even come into my mind.
Not even a little
because so many of the questions had to do with monsters. And I don't know if you're familiar with ACOTAR, but there's a billion monsters in the series. And I was getting them so confused. Like,
Hookah?
I was like, okay.
Bog?
The bog did something. We were cocky. And it
didn't pay off.
But yes, that night was like a party night. So that second night, you're from dusk till dawn, you are doing stuff. So you're going to be exhausted the next day for sure.
Are you going to sleep at the hotel? Probably not.
The last day is your day to shop.
Absolutely.
There were more panels that day, which were great, but shop, and then it's gonna end early because you're gonna have time to go.
Yeah.
Get ready for the ball.
Get dinner.
And that's the big hurrah. So that was a little snippet, which went into probably a lot longer than a snippet, but it was truly just the best weekend. And
yeah, so if you're thinking about it,
I wish I was going to the LA one.
The LA one looks insane. It looks like
they have some
that they have
big
are
authors.
Bananas.
Yeah.
And they're coming back to Orlando next fall.
Come hang out with us.
Those tickets are on sale already.
Come hang out with us.
And that was, wow, what a good first book convention experience.
Absolutely amazing. So yeah, if you have any questions, let us know, because there's probably 1,000 other things that we did not touch on. Mm-hmm. But shout out to Fabled Fantasy and Romantasy Con, because
it was an amazing
my whole heart is there. And feel free to, if you really want to see some content, go to my page, because I'm just going to continue to post more and more and more about it, because I'm living off a high from it. Mm-hmm. So there you have it. Thanks for watching and listening. And next time we're going to be talking about some fall reads. Yeah. So make sure to come on back before we get into that Christmas season. We got to give love to the fall. Yeah. Okay. Right. See you next time.